Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Go Champ, and today I'm going to be talking about careers in tech. We're going to be defining some of the major roles in tech. We're going to be talking about the skills, the requirements. We're going to be talking about the career prospects in these various areas. Before we dig in, if you are yet to subscribe, kindly subscribe. If you're subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing. Like, share with your friends and anybody who is a bit confused of where to start in their career journey. I am their best friend. Okay, let's get down to business. So I don't know if you've seen some social network movies that kind of spark interest in you wanting to be in tech, or is it because of the amazing salary bands that we see that is quite encouraging for you to want to start? Whatever reason that is making you consider tech is quite personal to you, and that's a good thing. But I want you to know that tech is quite lucrative, and as a front-end developer myself, I know the prospects that you can get is really better than many other industries. However, the good part about tech is that whatever is your previous industry might have been, you can leverage on your new tech skills and then work in that industry, and that would be really good for you. If you don't understand what I mean, you can check my previous video, but I might link it around here. But first of all, I want us to talk about the six-figure salaries, or is it the culture, or is it the freedom to wear whatever it is you want to wear? So there's so many advantages of wanting to be in tech, and let's just talk about some of this career path that I've been raving about. So the first career path I'll be talking about will be the web development aspect of tech. Would have also the mobile development aspect of tech. We have the product management aspect of tech. We have the data analytics, and we have the user experience design. And last but definitely not the least is the digital marketing aspect of tech. What exactly is web development? Have you thought about it? What do people mean when they say, oh, web developers? So we have designers that create the aesthetic feel and look of a website, whereas the web developers are those that make it functional. So in web development, we have basically two angles to web development. We have the front-end developers, like I said, I'm a front-end developer, and we have the back-end developers. So literally what a front-end developer does is take the design that the UX or UI UX designer had done and translate it into code, whereas the back-end developer does make the front-end developers code more functional. We have the front-end developers and the back-end developers. Those are career paths. So the front-end web developers actually code what the end user sees, whereas the backend build and maintain the technology that enables the user-facing side to function. What are the skills that you will need? Web development work with programming languages, instructions written in code computer understands. For the front-end development aspect of web development, you need to understand the HTML, you need to understand the CSS. This is like the basically ABC part of front-end development that is necessary. Then to get more functional, more like having the interactivity within the app functioning, like an animation, bringing in interactions within the app, you need to learn JavaScript. And JavaScript has different frameworks. I know you must have had something like React, Angular, Vue.js. So, but literally these are like the basics for a front-end developer. Whereas for a back-end developer, you can also learn different languages such as Node.js. I'm going to start with Node.js, such as Python, such as PHP, such as Ruby. From my angle, I'll say start with Python. Python has fewer codes that does similar function, whereas we have languages such as C#, we have C++, and so many other languages that you can, dabble into. You just try and see which one works best for you. And now let's talk about the career prospects for both front end and the back end. So in different industry, from the business aspects to non-profit, a software engineer or a software developer is going to be interfacing with the business development manager. You'll be interfacing with the business stakeholders. You'll be talking with the designers. You'll be literally, is a work that needs a lot of collaboration. So it's not really an isolated job, because you're driving to get something excuse me, off to the market. A typical career path actually for a front-end developer is usually to move into back-end development. And most times, as a back-end developer, you can transition to being a full-stack developer. And being a full-stack developer literally means that you're both front-end and back-end developer, and you get more paid. Some people also decide to transition into mobile development. They can decide to be a product manager, a user experience engineer. They can decide to even become a CTO. CTO meaning Chief Technology Officer, where you also manage other people. So depending on the career path that might be more suitable. So the second career path we're going to be examining is mobile development. We have apps like Instagram, WhatsApp that are like strictly first mobile, and of recent we have them in the web version, meaning that you can also interact with your app using your laptop and the rest. But for this aspect of our discussion, we're going to be talking about the mobile development aspect of tech. And there are several apps that doesn't even have a web platform. And to cut the long story short, this makes lots of mobile app developers really in demand in the market space. So what exactly will you be doing, and what are we talking about, and what skills and requirements do you need to attain, do you need to get to be able to function as a mobile app developer? So employers and clients typically start with an idea of what their customers have an appetite for or what they're asking to do. You are supposed to write code that brings your idea to life on the mobile device. It's literally as direct and simple as that. So rather than your consumers interacting with the application on their laptops, they will be working on their phones, and I think that's as direct as possible. Mostly some of this inbuilt app like Calm and so many other apps like that. So what are the skills, what are the prerequisites that many developers, mobile developers need? And the funny thing is that some or a lot of mobile developers actually transition from being first a web developer into mobile development. And of course, people have various reasons, but one of the reasons is that they get more paid than typical web developers. You need to have a different skill set. I know, and it all depends on what platform you're working on. Are you working on the iOS, which is popularly known as Apple? Are you working on the Android aspect of mobile, or are you working on Windows? iOS, you would have to program using Swift, while for Objective-C, you must understand your Xcode and your integrated development environment. That's for iOS. And for iOS also, you need to understand what your software development kit is for, popularly known as SDK. For Android, you program using Java and XML. And you must also master your Android Studio and Google Play. Whereas for Windows, you'd program in C++, C#, and JavaScript. You also must be familiar with your Visual Studio and the Windows SDK. Sounds like a lot, right? But it's really not a lot. You just need to determine what aspect of the mobile development are you going to be sitting on. Do you want to be an iOS mobile developer, or do you want to be an Android mobile developer, like I said earlier, or do you want to be a Windows mobile developer? So at times, what might guide your direction may be your favorite phone. Some people are really biased about an iPhone, other people are biased about their Android phones, other people are biased about their Windows phone. So depending on whatever way you want to do. So let's dive deep into what their career prospect is. So nearly 75% of jobs in the US is being attributed to mobile development community, according to Apple. So meaning that as of year 2020, there were over 1 million jobs in Europe and 1 million plus jobs in China also. And you know what? That's not even counting those in the Android and the Windows app, meaning there is a high demand for mobile app developers. They would always be in demand because I don't see our phones going anywhere soon. And the funny thing is that their salary is slightly higher than the web developers. And mobile skills are in short supply and can pretty much work from anywhere also. So you might want to consider mobile app development, Just select and be sure of what aspect of the mobile app development you want to go into. Now, the third career we'll be talking about is product management. Product management is not project management. Yeah. So product management has to do with product requirement, the process, managing people, managing the developers on your team, the designers, the business. It looks more like you're like the mini CEO of your product. You're responsible to identify the market opportunity. You're responsible to define the product being built so that the outcome is an acceptable ROI. That's the return on investment. So it's not like, you are like in a board meeting or in a Zoom meeting and then the requirement for this product is being defined. The CEO now adds a lot of other people and is quite busy, whereas it needs to manage just you and not micromanage every designer on the team or every developer on the team. So what you do is manage other people and ensure that the product reaches out, gets into production in time, meaning it is built on time. You distill market insight into an implementable strategy. So literally what a product manager does is you break down more like sprint. In design, there's also the design sprint, there's development sprint. So as a product manager, you're supposed to have your strategy and you're leading a product team to bring it to life. As a product manager, what do? First of all, you are to conduct market research. Absolutely, yes. You need to know what your users need, what they are requesting for, the next level of the features that you need to build. So you need to conduct your market research, you need to glean insight from data, you need to evaluate competition, and lead a fluid team of project managers, designers, developers, and UX experts who will roll on off as needed to deliver a product that the marketplace will love. So the job of a product manager is not something that should be taken lightly at all. You are like a product evangelist. You're talking about your product everywhere you go. You're enthusiastic. Sometimes you're the one representing the product at events and all that. Get what I mean? So what are the skills that you'll be needing? You'll be in charge of building and maintaining a product roadmap. So I earlier mentioned the strategy. So the document is usually called a product roadmap, and defining clear product requirements. You're communicating broadly. Communication is like the top of your list. You can't have a product managers usually get upset with a lot of developers because developers there's this myth around developers not communicating properly, but however, a good product manager gets their developers to communicate with them and understand what level they are, define timelines, and be able to project when this product will be able to roll into market. So you research and validation involving competitive analysis, customers interviews, A and B testing, MVPs, and MVP is the most viable product, meaning like when you have a version 1 of an app and then another version is released and all that. So you can be using tools like Google Analytics, you can be using Mixpanel, you can even be using some SQL. You're likely to apply lean and agile principles. So some of the methodology for development, one is lean, another is agile. You might be applying either of them. Also, understanding business goals and marketing needs of a project will also help. Like I said earlier, a product manager does not work in isolation. It's usually someone who has been in the room with other stakeholders of the business, talking about what the business needs to achieve at a particular milestone, and then the product manager in turn runs with that vision and that idea, breaking down the product roadmap with timelines, and communicating that with the team members. So what are the career prospects? Product managers are paid well, but very well also, and over time a solid product manager will develop skills to lead larger teams. So you can start with a team of like 4 and then grow into a team of 12 and all that. A successful product manager typically transitions into an executive leadership role. So like a CPO. Earlier I said CTO, now is a CPO. A CPO is like a chief product officer. You can become a CEO, you can even become a CTO or even a CMO. So it's like limitless opportunities for you to become. You should definitely check it out. And their typical salaries are usually over $100,000. I'll probably link the pounds equivalent onto that. So now we're on the fifth career. I'm so excited. I'm about to finish. So the 5th career is the UX design. This adds my heart. So the UX design is a discipline that determines the interaction experience of a user with their website, their app, their device, or a piece of software. And I repeat, do not underestimate the job of a UX designer, because when a UX designer does their job well, everybody is happy. Do you understand? The user is happy. The user is not confused on how to interact with the application. The user knows exactly what each button represents. They are not guessing. So have you ever downloaded an application and you're trying to kind of navigate your way through and it just doesn't make sense, then you delete it? So you need to, as a user experience designer, you need to understand that people have very limited patience to give you time. They are not your co-founder, they are not your colleagues. These are users. They just want their needs met. So what does a UX designer do? It's a mix of user research, information architecture, graphic design skill to create products that are beautiful and are simple to navigate. The key word here is simplicity. It needs to be simple to navigate. Every complication can make you lose a user, and as a user experience designer, you don't want that to happen. So your job is to learn how to best help the business build higher quality experiences for their customers. Literally what I just explained. So you're thinking, how does a customer land on this product, and do you understand what each element on the application does? You'll be doing quantitative and qualitative user research. You'll be compiling your findings to inform your design choices and stakeholders. So again, none of these jobs are in isolation. You need to compile all of this information and research you're doing, your findings, so that you can communicate to your design choices while you're choosing the curved button instead of the squared button to the stakeholders. You need to identify areas of opportunities and points of friction And designers, of course, use interfaces and experience for your product using wireframes and prototypes. So what are the skills that you'll need? To understand user behavior, you'll get familiar with web analytics tools. Yeah, you need to understand your Google Analytics and your keys metrics. Keep it stupid simple. Yeah, keep it stupid simple. Like in quantitative research, many user designers rely on SurveyMonkey, Isabella, Mechanical Turk, and aptly named user testing. When it comes to live testing, where potential users are using with their product, you will need to know how to conduct an objective protocol. So there is a lot to learn. And there's one more thing I want to touch on as a UX designer. You need to understand what wireframing is. You need to be able to create wireframes. You need to be able to prototype. You'll probably learn to use tools such as Adobe Photoshop. I don't use Adobe Photoshop. Anyway, I also design. Yes, so initially I started my journey as a UI UX designer and then transitioned into developer, and I still do my wireframing and my prototyping. So you can learn to use tools such as Sketch. Figma is my favorite, so you can learn to use such tools. While designers don't need coding experience to succeed, like, it doesn't hurt to learn basic HTML and CSS, but really it's never a must to know how to code as a designer. You can decide to be a designer and don't know how to code, or you can decide to be a developer and don't even know how to design, because we all work in collaboration. Finally, a UX designer needs to be a good communicator. Like I said earlier, you need to be able to back up your choices, your design choices. You need to explain the reason behind why you're choosing those design choices. So what are the career prospects of a UX designer? Sometimes, like I said, UX designers also dabble into coding or become a developer. At times, you can decide to be just a UX engineer. So that's a user experience engineer. Also, you can decide to become a chief experience officer. Remember, I said for product manager, you can become a chief product manager. In this aspect, you can become a chief experience officer. And trust me, companies with good UX and UI designs go further than companies that don't put much effort into it. Because as a user, I don't care about how many lines of code has been written on the back end. What I care about is my ability to use your app easily and simply, if you get what I mean. Now to the sixth career prospect, digital marketing. Digital marketing is a discipline that leverages digital channels to acquire, to engage, convert and retain customers. It's literally moving from the traditional form of marketing onto the digital world. So if you're somebody that likes to sell things, I think this should be a very good career path for you. You like to sell people, you like to tell people about products, and you like to explain the technical know-how or regarding the platform that you can use. So most critically, it allows you to analyze its effectiveness and allows you to optimize accordingly in real time. Your fundamental job is to sell at a strong ROI. So digital marketers use various tools, but whatever tools you're using, it shouldn't be more expensive than the profits and the returns that you get. So what will you do? Digital marketing covers a large spectrum. So mainly we have search, we have advertising, we have email marketing, we have social media marketing, we have mobile, and it depends on your area of expertise. Like I said, all these career paths, you can decide to go in a particular area of expertise. Of recent, I saw a post requesting for a LinkedIn digital marketer, somebody that knows how to craft the digital marketing space of LinkedIn. Somebody that knows how to sell products on LinkedIn, that knows what to say, what to write. Sometimes copywriting could be part of digital marketing. It all depends on what the job is requesting for you to do. Most digital marketers find themselves wearing one or all of the following hats. So executing marketing campaigns, managing the performance of this marketing campaign, optimizing on the campaign, or reporting back on the campaign's effectiveness. So let's see, what are the skills you will use? Why going deep and becoming a channel expert is likely where you will head as a digital marketer. You'll be successful in your role with a broad understanding of how the channels all work together. So like I said earlier, you can decide to craft a niche around your digital marketing. You can be very good with Instagram and not so good at LinkedIn. However, you should be able to find a link around all this, all the social media platforms. I, for one, believe a digital marketer should be the first to jump on any new platform. Just see what's going on there. Clubhouse, for instance, was the rave at the moment. You should be there seeing what is happening. Also, having a working knowledge of front-end development skills like HTML and CSS will upgrade you to a full stack marketer. So the field is always evolving and so many things to do. You can't just box yourself into some place. You need to understand Facebook advertising solutions really well. You could also want to understand Google AdWords. Paid advertising experts is what they call those people. So I'm not really vast in digital marketing, but these are some of the areas that are really good about digital marketing. So what are the career prospects? So developing and refining your skill is essential, just like every other career path that I've mentioned earlier. And experienced professionals have dynamic and diverse trajectories, while some choose to become deep experts in core digital marketing competencies, including paid media, social media, or content marketing. Others go broad and take on the management and leadership part, either at a business or a startup, agency, whatever way you want to become. I still feel you can become even a chief marketing officer, honestly, if you know your onions, because it's majorly about marketing. So I hope I've been able to do justice to all 6 career paths that I have explained today. And if you have any further questions, let me know. Just to wrap up again, today I spoke about web development, I spoke about mobile development, I spoke about product management, and oh my god, data analytics. Data analytics. I always didn't talk about data analytics, no way. So the 6th one is data analytics. What is data analytics? Too many businesses are excited by big data. You know how you do not make business decisions based on just emotions? I hope you know that. You don't just say, oh, I think. No, you do it based on data, and that is why data analytics is very important. That is why data analysts are so important to our lives. Data analysts organize and collect data from a variety of sources. They evaluate it, they derive insight from it, and they make actionable recommendations to drive the business. So literally, they're like the brain of a business. They're like the logical aspect. I don't know. They're literally the blood of the business. You're not making blind decisions. Do you understand? You get what I mean? You're making informed decisions based on data, based on what an expert has analyzed. So what you do, data analysts typically work in teams, wrangling data sets, build dashboards to help them keep the business informed on the business health. They set up A and B experiments to make effective decisions and create data models. Of course, I have my note that I'm reading and explaining from, because I don't want to not touch on important points that I want to, talk about. So you communicate data-driven insights to key stakeholders. You're not just talking and giving insights without a backup. You're doing this based on data-driven insight to key stakeholders like your product owners, to marketers, to designers, and others that will use this information that the data analyst is given to optimize their deliverables or plans. Like, their job is so important. I feel like, I don't know, it's just a very beautiful place to work. Your work can help employers accurately allocate resources, help them set their prices, help them modify how a supply chain would operate, So let's talk about the skills that you need. As a baseline, you rely on core thinking and analytical skills. You will do a lot of number crunching. So for those that don't like numbers, maybe this is not your calling, but if you do like numbers, and honestly, don't let anything hold you back. I was just kidding. Even if you think you don't like math, you don't like numbers, still give it a shot and see how it goes. You never can tell, honestly. So data is precise, so you need to pay attention to detail, have decent communication skills, so you can verbally and visually convey these complex findings. Don't come as a data analyst person and be telling a designer numbers. Another designer might catch it, but that doesn't mean every designer wants to be giving numbers all around. You need to know how to communicate all of this data that you have. And then from a technical aspect, you will learn how to work with reporting packages like Microsoft Excel and Business Object, database analytics tools like SQL, like Pandas, and you have some basic coding skills. Yeah, data analysts still code at times, so you have basic coding skills like Python, like JavaScript. Yeah, so what are the career prospects? Data analysts go on to become business analysts, data scientist, leadership role, business intelligence. Do you understand? I, for instance, work in fintech, regtech department industry, and it's very important to have this data analyst in your business, because these are businesses that determine people's lives, and you can't just have uninformed insight. So a data analyst is some place I really do respect, and I love their job. And I think that will bring me to the end of this whole career path. Of course, there are other career paths in tech, and if you're not following me on other social media platforms like TikTok, like Instagram, you should do well to follow me, because I also post other things there. However, before leaving here, please subscribe, like, and share. And guess what? Until next time, again, I'm the Coach Cham. See ya.